Into first-time leadership interviews today,
Uh,
which can be super exciting, but also nerve-wracking, right?
oh, absolutely.
Like you want to be totally prepared.
Yeah.
So we're checking out this leadership expert, Richard McMunn.
Okay.
He's got this YouTube video. It's really good. It's like how to answer those tough questions they throw at you
Yeah.
when they want to see if you've got the leadership stuff.
Right.
Have you seen this guy before?
I have. He's great. He's
Hmm.
got like 30 years of experience or something.
Yeah, he seems like he really knows what he's talking about. And
Mhm.
he jumps right in with that classic, like, tell me about yourself.
Oh, yeah, that one's so tough.
I always freeze up. Like, where do I even start?
It feels like they're asking for your whole life story.
Right.
But McMunn, he gives this really interesting framework.
Okay.
He says, you got to focus on the skills and experience that make you a leader,
Okay.
but not just like listing every job you've ever had.
Right.
It's more about how you frame those experiences.
Yeah. So even if I haven't had like a formal management role before,
Yeah?
I should still be trying to show leadership potential.
Exactly. Like think about times you took initiative, maybe motivated other people,
Oh, okay.
or like even if you had to like wrangle a group project and get it back on track.
Oh, yeah, those group projects.
Those are all leadership moments.
They like that, reframing it
Mhm.
through that leadership lens.
Exactly. And to really drive it home, McMunn gives this example answer in the video.
Okay, what does he say?
He has someone say they're like commercially focused and strategic thinking,
Okay.
which, I mean, it sounds impressive,
It does.
but it's kind of vague, right?
It's a little like corporate jargony.
Yeah.
But I guess those are the things hiring managers want to hear, right?
They do. But the key is to back it up with real examples from your life.
Right, not just saying you're a team player, but like actually giving a story.
Exactly. Tell them about a time you collaborated with someone or like resolved a conflict.
Show, don't tell.
Exactly.
I like it. So practice is key here.
Definitely.
Mm.
You don't want to sound like a robot,
Right.
but you also don't want to be rambling.
Yeah, you want to have those answers clear, concise.
Yeah.
Okay, so we tackled the dreaded tell me about yourself.
Mhm.
What's next in this leadership interview gauntlet?
Well, McMunn says, almost guaranteed you're going to get asked, why do you want to be a leader?
Oh, good question.
And he says, like, don't give a superficial answer here.
Like, because I want to be the boss?
Yeah, exactly. That's not going to cut it.
No.
He says the best answers tap into something deeper,
Okay.
like maybe your desire to mentor other people
Okay.
or to create positive change. Or maybe you thrive on responsibility
Hmm.
and you see leadership as a way to challenge yourself and make a bigger impact.
So it's about showing them you're not just in it for the fancy title. It's that genuine desire to lead and make a difference.
Exactly, aligning your own personal values with the role.
Okay, that's really helpful. Now, this is something I always get tripped up on,
What's that?
the whole leadership style thing.
Oh, yeah,
Because it feels like there's so many different approaches.
there are. And that's actually a good thing. McMunn says the best leaders aren't married to just one style.
Okay.
They have a whole toolkit.
A leadership toolkit.
Yeah, and they know when to use each tool.
I like that.
And he breaks it down into 3 main styles.
Okay, leadership toolkits. I'm intrigued. What goes in this toolkit?
So he starts with what he calls the autocratic style,
Okay.
which is all about like clear directives, quick decisions.
Mm-hmm.
It's really valuable in a crisis or when you just need something done now.
I can see that, but it's a little bit like my way or the highway, right?
It can be.
Uh-huh.
And McMunn stresses you don't want to overuse this one.
Okay, good to know.
So then he moves on to the transformational style,
Okay.
which this one's all about inspiring your team, getting them motivated to achieve these big goals.
Okay, that sounds a bit more collaborative.
Exactly.
A bit more inspiring.
Yeah. Think of like leaders who have a really strong vision
Okay.
and they bring their team along to make it a reality.
I'm getting the picture.
Often a transformational approach.
So we've got decisive action. We've got inspiring visions. What's the third style in our leadership toolkit?
The third one is the delegative style.
Okay.
And this is all about empowering your team by giving them ownership, letting them really run with things.
Okay, so less about micromanaging and more about trusting your team to do what they do best.
Exactly. You're playing to their strengths, delegating effectively, and then you kind of step back and let them shine.
But you're still there to provide support if they need it.
Of course. Of course. You're not just like throwing them to the wolves.
Okay, good.
But yeah, it's that balance.
This is really making me rethink leadership. It's not just one size fits all.
Right.
It's about knowing when to take charge, when to inspire, and when to trust.
You got it. And that flexibility makes you a much stronger leader.
Okay.
Now, McMunn doesn't just talk styles.
Okay.
He also gives us what he calls his cheat sheet
Ooh, cheat sheet. I like it.
of essential skills and qualities for every leader.
Okay, hit me with these cheat codes for great leadership.
At the very top, communication,
Makes sense.
and not just like speaking clearly.
Okay.
It's also being a good listener, understanding body language,
Right.
creating that open communication environment.
If you can't communicate, you can't lead.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. What else?
Then he goes into emotional intelligence.
Oh, that's a big one.
Huge for building trust with your team.
So being aware of your own emotions and how other people are feeling.
Exactly. A leader with high emotional intelligence, they can navigate conflict, they can build consensus,
That's important.
and create a really positive team culture.
Okay. What else is on this cheat sheet? I'm ready.
Planning and organization.
Oh, yeah. Gotta have that.
Makes sense, right?
You gotta be organized.
A good leader needs to set clear goals, delegate, manage their time.
Oh, imagine being disorganized and trying to lead a team.
Can you imagine?
Deadlines flying everywhere.
It would be chaos.
Yeah. Not a good look.
No, not at all.
Okay, what else? Give you more cheat codes. All right, how about problem solving? Things are going to go wrong, right?
Always.
So a good leader needs to be able to think on their feet, find creative solutions.
Keep calm under pressure.
Exactly.
So it's not about knowing all the answers right. It's about knowing how to find them.
And how to guide your team through those challenges.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then last but not least, delegation.
Delegation. Ooh, that's one I struggle with.
Yeah.
I always feel like it's faster to just do it myself.
I hear you. But doing everything yourself is a recipe for burnout.
True.
McMunn says effective delegation isn't about getting things off your plate.
Okay.
It's about empowering your team members, giving them opportunities to grow.
It's about trusting them to do the work.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a really good point.
So these are all important in any job.
Yeah.
But in a leadership interview, you really want to showcase them.
So how do I actually do that in an interview?
This is where storytelling comes in.
Ooh, stories. I like stories.
Right. McMunn says, have a few stories ready to go that illustrate each of these skills.
Gotcha. So instead of just saying I'm a great communicator, I need to give them an example.
Exactly. Tell a story. Maybe you had a project where communication broke down and you had to get everyone back on track.
Okay.
That shows your communication skills in action.
Show, don't tell. I'm seeing a theme here.
Right.
So these stories help the interviewer really picture you as a leader.
Exactly. Stories are powerful.
This is such good advice. I feel like I'm starting to understand how to really ace a leadership interview.
And we're just getting started.
Yeah.
McMunn has even more tips.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, yeah. Especially for those behavioral interview questions.
Oh, those are the ones that always get me. They're so specific. It's like, how am I supposed to remember every single project I've ever worked on?
I feel you. But the good news is you don't need to memorize every little thing.
Okay.
McMunn says the key is to focus on what they're really trying to figure out.
Okay.
What skills and qualities are they looking for?
So it's less about the specifics of that one presentation I gave and more about like what it says about me as a leader.
Exactly. Let's say they ask you, tell me about a time you had to manage conflict on a team.
Okay, I hate that question.
Right. But instead of panicking trying to find the perfect example,
Right.
think about what makes a good conflict resolution story.
Okay, so like active listening, finding common ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
All about showing those core leadership skills in action.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better. So it's like having a framework in my head that I can just plug in different experiences.
Exactly. And McMunn actually gives some really useful frameworks in the video
Okay.
for all kinds of questions like, how do you handle a team member who's not meeting expectations?
Oh yeah, that's a tough one.
Or like, tell me about a time you had to make a difficult decision with limited information.
Okay, those are all very real situations.
Right. So how do you answer those well?
Yeah, what's the secret?
McMunn says, don't just say what you would do. You have to tell a story that shows you've actually done it before.
Okay, so I need some good stories up my sleeve.
Exactly. And he gives this great framework for structuring them.
I love a good framework. Tell me more.
He calls it the STAR method.
STAR.
It stands for situation, task, action, result.
Okay.
So you start by setting the scene, describe the situation briefly. Then what was your task, your responsibility?
Okay.
Then the action. What did you do? Focus on those leadership behaviors. And finally, what was the result?
STAR, situation, task, action, result. Got it. Okay, I'm writing that down. That's super helpful to have that structure.
Right. It makes it so much easier to tell a good story even when you're nervous.
Yeah, especially under pressure. Okay, so I've got my STAR stories ready to go. What
Well,
else?
and don't be afraid to talk about the challenges you faced.
Okay.
How you overcame those obstacles, that's where those leadership skills really shine through.
It's about showing them you can handle the tough stuff.
Exactly. And speaking of tough stuff, McMunn doesn't shy away from those, like, kind of uncomfortable questions.
Oh, you mean like, what's your greatest weakness?
That's the one.
Ooh, I hate that question. It feels like a trap.
It can.
Yeah.
But McMunn has this great approach.
Okay.
He says, choose a weakness that's actually a strength in disguise.
Oh, wait, how is that even possible?
It's all about how you frame it.
Okay.
So instead of saying, I'm a perfectionist, which can sound kind of
Well,
cliche.
it's a little bit braggy.
Right.
Yeah.
You could say, I set really high standards for myself and my team, which means I need to be mindful of deadlines and delegate effectively so I don't take on too much.
So you're basically acknowledging a potential weakness?
Yes,
But you're also showing that you're self-aware.
exactly.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
you're proactive about it. You're always trying to
Oh,
improve.
that is so smart.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm feeling way more confident about tackling those tricky questions now.
That's what we like to hear. And remember, the more you've thought about these things,
Yeah,
the more comfortable you'll feel in that interview.
absolutely. This has been so helpful. Any last words of wisdom from the leadership guru himself?
Actually, yes. McMunn says it's not just about answering their questions perfectly.
Okay.
It's also about asking thoughtful questions of your own.
Oh, right. Show them you're curious, not just desperate for a job.
Exactly. And those questions you ask can really reveal a lot about you.
Okay, so what kind of questions should I be asking?
So instead of asking about, like, vacation time or work from home policies,
Yeah, save those for the offer.
exactly. Ask questions that show you're thinking big picture.
Okay, like what? Give me some examples.
You could ask about the company's biggest challenges right now or their biggest opportunities.
Okay.
Maybe ask about the leadership team's vision for the future,
Mhm.
or even ask about the company culture and how they support their employees' development.
Those are really good. It shows you're already thinking like you're part of the team.
Right. It shows you care about more than just yourself. You want to make a real impact.
This entire deep dive has been so eye-opening. I've learned so much about what it really takes to be a good leader.
Me too. And you know what I find so inspiring is that these aren't just skills for people with manager in their job title.
Right.
These are valuable for anyone who wants to be more effective in their work and in their life.
So true. Whether you're leading a team or collaborating on a project or even just having a tough conversation with a friend.
It all comes down to communication, empathy, strategic thinking.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up here, any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
Leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about being open to learning and growing and encouraging others to do the same.
I love that. Such a good point to end on. Thanks for diving into this with me.
My pleasure. And to all our listeners out there, good luck with those interviews we're reading for you.